Hi, Jason Buckner here again from Automation Made Easy. Now, over the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about the mistakes I see people make when they're doing a lead generation campaign, an opt-in campaign, a campaign to grow the database, and not necessarily having the right focus. Now, the final mistake that I see people making quite a bit is while they put this campaign together, people opt in and they deliver the free report or whatever the lead generation tool is that they're, offering to people for free for their name and their email address. And I would suggest absolutely telephone number all the time, and that'll make sense in a little while why. So they're putting together this whole campaign and have their emails together, they have their conversion phase together and their drive phase together, but they don't really know what's happening with every single lead. And as a result, they're just letting the emails do the work instead of actually getting in there and treating this asset, this database that's growing, like their business, and getting in there and being proactive about the leads that are coming in and do something with them. Let me explain to you. If you have a look on the screen here, you can see our campaign from Inside Keap. Inside Keap Max Classic is this one, but this sort of campaign works in any of the Keap versions. But let's take a look. So someone opts in over here on the side over here. They opt in through a web form, for the campaign. And then in this section here, this is where we send the welcome email, which is, rewarding them for taking action and sending them the ebook in this particular case, and then sending them a welcome, or sending them on to the conversion phase. Okay, so we reward them for taking action, and then we send them on to go to the next step if they decide to. Okay, then inside here, now I told you that you need to do a minimum of 3 emails inside here, but in actual fact you can do more, and I said that as well. You can do more, and I encourage you to do more. 3 is the minimum, but in this case I've got 5, so I've broken my ebook in this case down into the 3 components of the ebook, the first 3 videos, and then I've got 2 videos which are case studies inside there showing how we helped 2 particular customers, 2 different customers, how to improve their conversions as a result of doing follow-up. Okay, so 2 case studies, 5 videos. And you'll see there, if you can see on the screen, there's SMS inside there as well. We do emails and SMS, and that's one of the reasons why we get the telephone number or the mobile number on opt-in so that we can do that. But there's a more important reason, a much more important reason. That's the trust building phase, okay? We need to get people to know, like, and trust us before they'll take the next step, okay? Now, this section over here, this is what I call the conversion phase. And I'm okay if you just have this bit at the top, okay? This bit at the top here is the most important bit. So when someone gets to this phase, so they've gone through the trust building phase, then we get to the conversion or drive phase, like I've been saying over the last couple of weeks, and we have a couple of emails. We have 1 email inside here that is driving them to book for their appointment to enroll, or their strategy session in my case, and then we have a final 2 emails in here. Okay, so that's this section here. This is the minimum that you need. But then I have a slightly different variation, and because of marketing automation, we can be a little bit better here. But what I do is, if someone has clicked in these emails here, if they've clicked on my content and gone through on every single one of the 5, then I send them to book in a strategy session. Okay, and that's what this phase does here. If they've only clicked on some of these, then I send them through to register for the webinar, but I can have a different version of the first email, okay? So I notice you've been enjoying some of my content in this case. In this case, when they've clicked through on all 5 of these, then I say up here, I notice you've been enjoying all of my content, so exciting for you. Next stage is a strategy session. Next stage is us to create a plan for you. So we can have a slightly different conversation based on the action or lack of action they've taken over here. Anyway, and then if they've taken no action, we have a slightly different email as well. We drive them to the webinar in this case. In taking all action on all 5, we drive them to the appointment to enroll or to our strategy session. Anyway, off on a tangent there. Let's come back, okay? So what we usually do is we let this campaign run through and get people to book in for a strategy session. And that's what most people do, okay? They let their campaign do the work and do nothing else with the leads. Now, what I suggest you have to do is actually be better than that, okay? I want you to know who are the qualified leads, and I want you to know who are, the even more qualified leads, so that you can do more follow-up with them. Let me explain in just a moment. So if someone's taken no action, okay, in any of these emails, not so qualified, okay? If someone has taken, in this trust building phase, if someone has clicked through to watch one of your videos, they're a little bit more qualified, okay? But if they've clicked through to watch all of them, then they're even more qualified. Or if they're booked in a strategy session, of course, they're the most qualified. So let's have a look at this might look. How do we track this? Well, I usually recommend tracking it in a sales pipeline. Let's have a look at what one of those might look like. So here is a sales pipeline: pre-qualified, qualified, converting, won, and lost, okay? So if someone engages, if they click through on some of our content, then I automatically want to put them into pre-qualified. As soon as they click, they go into pre-qualified, okay? And I'll tell you why in just a moment. And then if they book in for a session, they're going to skip that pre-qualified stage and they're actually qualified. They've booked in for a session, they want a piece of you, they want a piece of me. In this particular case, I'm going to get on the phone to them and create a plan for them, okay? And then what happens when I've been on the phone to them and if they become someone who's going to convert into the customer, we can move them across into that stage and we move them around and, we get to see how many people in here by putting values in. I can track all of my leads, all of the leads coming through. I can track them, what their value is, how much is won, how much is lost, how much is converting, all of that sort of thing. So we move them. We literally move them across as we're converting and as they win and they lose. But then once I've made this call here, potentially Donna Marie in this case and Ada in this case, once I've made these calls, what I can do then, which is the really cool thing about having this sort of setup, is I can visually see all of these people in this pre-qualified phase, all of the people that have clicked through on some of my content, and I can get on the telephone and start making cold calls, booking in. Well, they're not cold, are they? Because they're slightly warm. They've registered, they've got your free report, and they're clicking through on some consult, so they're interested in what you've got to tell them. So we can then go back and make calls on those people as well. Now, the businesses that I see doing this sort of process, not just waiting for people to book, but being proactive with those people that have engaged in some of the content, are the ones making those extra sales and converting more in their business. So I urge you to now start tracking all of those leads that come through your lead generation campaign so we can see what's going on with them and take some extra action.